Hi, ladies. How are you?
We're good. Thanks for having us. This is seriously like such an honor. Like we love what you guys are doing and just happy to be a part of it.
Well, thanks so much for being a part of it. We love having you. As you know, we're here creating conversations and talking about mental health. You have recently sort of taken up mental health as one of the many topics that you cover. What are some of the things that you cover on the show when it comes to mental health? What are some of the specific issues you guys are tackling?
I think for us, we never when we first started our podcast almost 2 years ago now, we never pictured that being one of the things we wanted to talk about. But however, once it kind of became a really relevant thing in our own lives, it almost felt weird to not talk about these subjects and these topics. And both of us really struggle with anxiety, and it's been so freeing being able to talk about it. And the main message we want to let people know is just that you're not alone, and you can't compare yourself to other people's struggles that they're going through. And I think that's been something really cool, just being able to talk about. And the response that we've gotten honestly has been so cool. And it's been inspiring to us to want to talk about these things more, because for so long, I mean, mental health has always just been this taboo subject that no one wants to talk about, but yet so many people struggle with it. So it's been really cool, just to feel like we have a more of a purpose. We love talking about the boy drama and all that stuff, but the messages we get when people can share their stories too, honestly, just it means so much, and it really puts it into a whole new perspective for us.
Great. You talk about community in a way, like you're sort of creating community in talking about mental health and sort of opening that door to your audience. Remy, I'm wondering how you feel about that. Do you feel like since you guys started talking about mental health and making it more of a topic of conversation, speaking about your personal experiences, that it has become more of a community, or are you feeling that sense with your audience?
Yeah, definitely. We record weekly, so it's really nice to be able to come and just have a conversation with my best friend, talk about what I've been dealing with, kind of like the ups and the downs of the week. And a lot of times when we talk about our downs, we're able to kind of elaborate on what we were feeling and struggling with and kind of talk it through. And we always say that when we record, it feels like a therapy session. And last April, we were able to do a few live shows around California, some in Arizona, and while we were doing that, we were able to do meet and greets and meet so many people. And having a podcast meetup was different than any sort of meetup we've ever done, because we got to really connect with people. People were able to bring their stories and tell us how the podcast has helped them and changed their lives and helped with their mental health. So that was just a completely different experience we weren't even ready for. And we've kind of taken that and definitely put it back into the podcast since then.
Very cool. Social media is obviously a big name of the game for you guys. How do you feel like social media can exacerbate issues with mental health and also maybe support people who are struggling with mental health? They're sort of like two sides of that coin.
Yeah, I think being a creator, we've seen just many different sides to the ups and downs of social media and stuff. And like you said, community being one of those, the pro side of just so much, how you can connect with people about different struggles and whatever. But then also there are some downsides, and even just certain things that can be triggering for certain people when it's in your face and having so much negative news, um, in your face 24/7, and it's so available to see, can also not help those situations. So of course, there's pros and cons to everything, but it's been really interesting just realizing that like everyone handles that differently, and what's fine for someone may not be okay for the other person. And I think even just me personally, like having to learn myself and learn, um, you know, just what things can be triggers for me, and what, um, yeah, it's just I think it's really hard, and everyone is on their own journey with that. But it is really cool to be able to connect with people, um, about those anxieties or worries and stuff.
You mentioned anxiety and worry, and I would imagine that having the sort of multiple channels that you have and being so busy um, could create some stress and anxiety for you. I'm wondering what you do to cope with your busy schedules and how you manage your stress and sometimes those sorts of challenges that come up.
Yeah, definitely. I think I always used to even I kind of had to have a check with myself, because I was such a workaholic, working literally from the second I woke up to the second I went to bed. And it was such an ego thing. Like I loved being able to say that I was working so hard on a project or spending X amount of hours editing this video, but in reality, it was doing so much more harm than good. And then I ended up having to take quite a large break from everything for about 2 to 3 months of just stopping uploading, which was really hard for me just because it was everything I'd built for 10 years and just being willing to like have to give it up. But I knew I had to just because I was wearing myself out. I was so burnt out. I was not taking care of myself. So I feel like now having gone through that, like learning to rest has honestly helped me in so many different ways. Not only has it made me love what I do more because it makes me excited to actually get up and be able to work, but being able just to have better relationships with like my family and my friends. And it sounds so cliche. And we always say this on the podcast, like the cliche things are actually so true. And just investing more into those friendships and stuff and not having to be on all the time. I think that's
Hmm.
something that we also struggle with, being your own boss. It's like, oh, instead of uploading one video this week, why don't we upload three? No one's telling you you don't have to. Why not get ahead, get more views, get more money, blah, blah, blah. So it can just be such an endless cycle. So yeah, the stresses can definitely be there, but having again those boundaries of one video a week is good enough. If I need to take a week off, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, that's it's so important to kind of find that work life balance. And I think we live in a culture that really sort of promotes workaholism. So it can be even
Hmm.
trickier when you have a culture that's sort of like telling you this is okay. I'm wondering what you both do for self care. How do you take a minute, take a breath? What are some tips you might give our audience for that?
I recently, just being in quarantine, have started to go a little stir crazy sometimes. So whenever I feel that way, I actually have started baking a lot. I just love to like bake or cook or something just to get my mind off of it. I was actually having trouble breathing the other day and just started getting in my head. And I just baked some cookies and I felt so much better. I know that's not everybody's kind of pathway, but I also love to just take walks, get outside, play with my dog, call a friend. I feel like everyone's dealing with this sort of feeling lately, and it's important just to figure out what works for you.
Great
Yeah,
advice.
definitely talking to people has helped me a lot. I think even if I know it's something stupid in my head that I just have a thought and I'm worrying about it or overthinking it, even just talking about it to my roommate and saying, "Hey, I know this is really stupid. Just hear me out. Like, please help me talk me down from this." Um, has helped tremendously for sure for me.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here. We've loved having you. Great advice. And thanks for all the good reminders.
Oh my God, of course. Thank you so much.
Thanks.